What's up, guys?
Hey everyone, we are live on YouTube, Facebook.
Hmm.
Let me
As
see.
as we're new to this, so we're exploring.
Let me see if I can tell you who is on the
No, I
live.
can't.
It can't. Okay. If you are on the live right now, please comment so we can, just to make sure you guys can actually hear us and see us.
Okay, guys, if you're on the live, leave us a comment. Yeah, let's know if the audio is good.
If the audio and the video is good, let us know. I think we'll just give it like a few minutes to see more people can join the live.
Okay, let me test out something.
Okay. Hey, Nyale, can you hear us? Let us know. So, okay, Tommy said the audio is good. He just tested it out. Hi, Jojo. Hi, guys. How are you guys? We'll just give it a few minutes, maybe like 2 more minutes to see some more people can hop on, and then we're gonna start. Hi, hi. I know it's been a while, Nyali. Hi, guys. Good evening, Fashwa.
Welcome here. I am Tommy Tarawallie, the man of the Tarawallie last name. Being a parent.
I know.
But yeah, guys, we'll just give it a little bit. Then we'll
Maybe like
basically
one more minute,
one
and
more
then we're
minute.
gonna start. So
Then we're going to dive in. And I'm glad that I'm actually seeing people on the live that also have a traditional name. Nyale is here and Fashwa is here. I hope I pronounced it right.
Fashwa,
Yeah. So, and Absitu is also here. So we have people on the live with traditional Sierra Leonean name that is not just Umu Aminata. Hey, Nikki. How's everyone doing? All right, so let's dive in then. We have people here.
Okay, guys, we're gonna start the live now, and if you missed the live, you can always come back and check it out. So
I have the little human here with me, so
I know. But as you guys can see from the title, today we really wanted to talk about the social stigma when it comes to traditional names, right? If you're here, you have a traditional name, I'm pretty sure you've experienced that, even if you live in Sierra Leone, because that's even the worst place in my opinion, right? But let's start from myself, I will say, because I'm like the only one that has a traditional name. You don't have a traditional name, right?
Which I'll dive into how that have changed my narrative and perspective of like why I wish I had a traditional name.
Yeah. So Tommy doesn't have a traditional name. I do, Sia, which is from Kono, right? And of course, in Sierra Leone, no one has a problem pronouncing Sia. But when I moved to the US, I've had people, I want to say mostly from African Americans, that will call me Saya. Maybe just a few white people, not majority though. It really comes from like the black people more. They'll call me Saya. They'll call me I don't even know the other one, but it's like two ways they pronounce it, and I always have to correct them, right? Anyway, fast forward to us having kids. Sorry, we have a baby, so if you see me looking down, that's him. But fast forward to now, we started having kids. We named our first son Ibatima. Now our second son is Mulima, right? And we find that when I was pregnant, for example, when I had my friends back, let me not say friends, acquaintances back home, they will reach out to me and say, oh, what's, what will be your son's name? And I will tell them like Ibatima, right? I had one person in particular who told me, why are you giving your son that strong ASS name, right? And to me, I looked at the person, and this is someone that actually has a traditional name, by the way. Okay. So to me, it's either they don't appreciate their name, or they don't like it, right? Because she proceeded to say, when I have my kids, I'm going to name my kids this and that and that. And she named the whitest name you can ever think about. And I was like, cool, that's you. Do you? We're not the same people. For me, right? This is the reason why the person that I found, the person that I ended up getting married to, we have the same morals and values when it comes to a lot of things, right? And not just that, but also like the way we want to raise our kids, how we wanted to name our kids. So that's the reason why I chose who I chose, right? Again, you can go choose someone who wants to name their kids a white man's name, because if you find someone who wants a traditional name, then you guys are going to have a conflict. You guys are going to have problems. So anyway, when she made that comment, I remember having that conversation with Tommy, and we just kind of laughed it off, but it was very telling, right? And that was the first time I ever started getting comments like that from my people. Now, let's talk about when I will meet like a white person, right? And they ask me, what's going to be your baby's name? When I tell them, okay, they are so in awe, like, oh my goodness, that's such a beautiful name. What does it mean? Oh, da 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 da, right? So, but
I think even before we dive in, I'll probably say um there's a huge misconception of, if you give your child a traditional African name, quote unquote Caucasians, or as our people tend to say, oh, the white people won't be able to pronounce it.
Right.
Now, the thing that bothers me the most is the fact that we're always worried about the white people, when in actuality, white people that I've come across have shown interest in learning about the names.
Right.
The struggle comes with our own people. And when I say our own people, Sierra Leoneans in general that have this mindset of, if you're overseas, you're not supposed to name your kids traditional African names. And I say Sierra Leoneans specifically because the Ghanaians, Nigerians don't have that issue. I hate saying that. I hate comparing ourselves to Ghanaians and Nigerians. The Ghanaians, Nigerians will name their kids the most traditional names ever, and their kids will go around proudly owning that name. Now, to go off of that also, I did not learn to hate my name until I came to America, because when I go to work and I'm helping a customer out and I tell them I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa, and they are like, oh, so what's your name? And I'm like, Tommy. Swear to God, I've had customers ask me, is Tommy your real name, right? Or you don't look like a Tommy.
Right.
Because they are expecting a traditional African name. Now, don't get me wrong, most of them are ill-informed about the whole colonization. As I'm talking, look at this boy staring in my soul, like, what's going on? Say hi. Say hi. So I just ate. Here, let me bring your passing. But most white Americans in general are expecting this traditional African name. But the issue that we run into definitely is, and I hate saying this because mainly I'm Sierra Leonean. I think we mainly see that issue from Salon people, our own, not only Salon people. If I've even had family members that have made comments about, oh, you're always giving your kids very difficult names. I'm like, how's that difficult? If we can pronounce other names without thinking about it, then there's no reason why we shouldn't focus on our traditional names.
Right.
Because the Nigerians are doing it, the Ghanaians are doing it. What is stopping us from going back to our root, basically?
Right. And like Tommy said, right, he's had like family members, and honestly, it's so crazy and funny to me, because when I see a Mende person, for example, say something like, oh, you guys are always naming your kids difficult names, quote unquote, right? They have a Mende name. Their kids have Mende names, right? Their kids' names maybe might be 4 letters or something, or 5. I don't know. But to them, having an 8-letter name is a difficult name, is too much, is blah blah blah. So I sit down and I'm like, okay, it's not even, we're not even having like backlash from like different tribes, right? We're having backlash from actual people from the tribe that we choose the name from, which is Mende, right? And you have like the aunties that will give comments, they give like sly comments like that and just laugh it up. And I'm like, it's not funny. You get what I'm saying? Like, you guys are actually being very ignorant when it comes to that, and it's not funny at all. Um, but and we acknowledge that, yes, traditional names, some of them can be very difficult for you to pronounce, right? But the responsible thing to do is to ask someone. That's what I do. If I meet like an Asian person, or I meet someone that's from another country and they have a name that I cannot pronounce, I always ask, especially if I'm going to see that person again, right? I will ask you, like, you know what? I did not get your name, but I will try and get your name. Like, what is your name again? I will try and learn the person's name instead of like laughing at, in front of their face, or giving sly comments talking about, oh, your name is too difficult to pronounce, I'm not even gonna try. I've had people who said that about Ibatima. They will come up to me and ask me, what is your son's name again? And I will tell them. And then they'll say, oh, I'll just call him E. No, you're not going to call my son E. That's not his name. His name is not E. His name is Ibatima.
Right.
Literally Ibatima. I don't know what's so hard to pronounce about the name, but again, it always comes from our people.
The thing that I find interesting is when I talked about how we're always worried about, oh, the white man is not going to be able to pronounce it. When in actuality, when you actually come across like a Caucasian person and you say the name once, they're like, can you please repeat it again? And most of the time they will ask you to like break it down for them to where they will understand it, right? We live in an area where I think for the longest time, for the past 3 years, we're the only Black people in this community in general, up until we recently had one. But all the kids, when Ibatima is outside playing, all the kids call his name perfectly.
Yeah.
Right? No struggles. But when it comes to like our own people, it's always, there's an issue around just the traditional name. And I'm not saying like you have to name your kids traditional name. No, by the end of the day, do what is right for you.
Yeah.
If we chose to go the route of traditional names, the at least the least you can do is respect that choice. Don't start making, oh, I'm going to call them this, I'm going to call them this. No, there's a difference between Batima and Ibatima, or Bitima and Ibatima. So don't go around making
up your own names. Exactly.
For names are very unique to people. Right. So like you said, I get it. It's very difficult to sometimes pronounce traditional names, but I think this is really Sierra Leoneans, because I'm Sierra Leonean. We interact more with Sierra Leoneans, right? They have this mindset of, I'm not even going to try, but yet we know how to pronounce all the soccer players' name with no problem. We know all the movie stars with no problem. So
yeah, and the white people that people always tend to be worried about, talking about, oh, the white man is not going to be able to pronounce their names. I think our people need to stop using their ignorance, and using white people as an excuse for their ignorance, right? Because ever since I had Ibatima, for example, I have never had a problem with a white person pronouncing his name.
No.
I swear to God, I'm not even making this up. I have never had a white person had a problem pronouncing his name. They always say his name correctly, right? For example, when I had him at the hospital 4 years ago, right? It was just one nurse who came into the room, and she knew how to say the name, but the G in his name gets people confused sometimes, right? So she was like, say his name for me. And I said, I didn't say the name. I said the G is silent. And she said, oh, Ibatima. I said, exactly. There you go. They are always so excited and so happy to say these names and to learn these names. But oh my goodness, meet a Sierra Leonean.
Jesus Christ.
What's your child's name? Ibatima. Oh, okay. and then they proceed to say something, right? That is offensive. And then when you say something back to them, especially if it's the aunties, right? When you say something back to them, now you're being disrespectful. But you just disrespected me and my family, right? So I think our people need to stop using the white man as an excuse, because these white people really love traditional names. When tell them the story about your name, please. When you tell people your name, when you tell white people your name.
If you're just joining us, right? Usually when I'm at work and I tell Caucasians my name, like, oh, my name is Tommy, most of them are like, you don't look like a Tommy.
Because right? That's a white man.
Or is that your real name, right? And that goes back into also, I've seen most Sierra Leoneans or Africans in general come overseas and they change their name or phonetize it to where it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, it's crazy that you're like bending out of your way to go from Aminata to Aminata.
Aminata. Oh, Fatmata.
I
don't even know how to say
when it's Fatmata, right? Like, and it's more Sierra Leoneans. I've come across Asians, Indians, Nigerians, Ghanaians who are so proud of embracing their traditional names that is beyond imagination. But when it comes to our own people, I don't know where this mindset is coming from, that everyone has to be named Fode, everyone has to be this. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, if you want to give your child the whatever name you can find about, you want to name them Cody, this, that is up to you. But by the end of the day, like, why are you not embracing your culture, right? And name is part of your culture. But yeah, let's go through the comments. Let's see. All right.
Gorgeous. Thank you, Fashwa.
Let's
go.
If
you're still here.
All right. Nyale says, so happy to see you both. Been a while. Thank you so much. We're glad you're here. Yeah. Thanks for showing up. And he's so good. Pronounce the name. The
Onima?
Word. No, the word.
He's gorgeous.
Gorgeous. I'm Mende, so I have a problem there.
So gorgeous. Thank you.
Good evening to my favorite couple. Thank you. Good evening. Thanks for joining us today. If you're watching from Facebook or YouTube. But let me see. There's actually a nice comment here. So that's very true. It's always the white ones that think our traditional names is special. Exactly.
No lie. So I'm like, our people need to understand that these white people are not worried about these traditional names. They love it. They really, really do. So if you want to give an ignorant comment when it comes to someone's name, just give your comments, but don't use other people as an excuse for your ignorance. You get what I'm saying? Because whenever people say that, I'm like, no.
All right, let's see what Nyale said here. I personally think when people with traditional names look down on traditional names, it's simple. They don't know the meaning behind it, and the meaning goes with the beauty of it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anyway. No, you go ahead.
But Nyale, right? I wouldn't say they don't know the meaning behind it, because, like I said, most of the comments that we've actually got is from Mende people, and they can speak the language. Okay. So I really don't understand if it's self-hate, if it's I don't understand what it is, because I think also people tend to, Mende names like Muke, for example, right? Nyake, these are the common Mende names, right? Right? So if we had named our kids one of these names, I think it wouldn't have been an issue. It's just like when you're Kono, right? People know more of the Sia, they know more of the Tamba. Right. So but there are Kono names that I've heard, and I didn't even know that was a Kono name. Yeah. I didn't even know how to pronounce it, but I'm not going to be ignorant about it, right? So I don't think it's about them not knowing. I just think it really just stems from, these kids don't have like the regular Mende names, so let me be ignorant about it and say whatever I have to say.
I mean, to your point also, Nyale, I think if someone has a traditional name and then they go out of their way to disrespect someone else's that has a tradition, and that's just, I don't think it's even ignorance. It's also where they have no respect for themselves,
Right.
and respect for the name of other people. Because if I come across someone and they tell me my name is this, what I want to know now is, tell me more about that name.
Yeah.
Hey, is there a meaning behind it? I've been at work and people have told me exotic names where I'm like, is there a meaning behind those names? And we tend to have an entire conversation, because that also enables you to learn, right? And this is not just for our Mende people, because you can be Mende by tribe, but you know nothing about your culture.
Yeah.
Most people grew up in they grew up in Freetown, and some of them, even when they come overseas, have gone out of their way to disassociate themselves with their culture, which that is up to if you want to do that. I know people that I came here before. Now, if we're out, they're like, I know Sabi talk the Korea. I don't know how to speak Korea. I don't know how to talk Mende. What happened? Right? So most people, yes, I get it, do have identity crisis, but the people even back home, and I think we tend to get most of the disgusting comments from people back home, right? Why did you name your child that strong name? This instead of really just embracing that. So Nyale, yes, you're definitely right. Most people don't know the meaning, but I think the least you can do is ask for the meaning of things. Like, hey, what's the meaning of that name? Let me see. One more comment from Nyale. I'm so big on pronunciation of my name, and it's very disrespectful when people ask.
Oh my gosh, we were coming to that.
We were coming. Go talk about it, sis. Talk about it. Talk about it. Holy Spirit, activate.
Let me calm myself first. Okay. Recently on Facebook, right? And I'm not gonna say her name or anything. I really actually hope that she's watching this live. I posted a tweet that a Twitter post that someone posted on their Instagram. It was this Nigerian lady who talked about her. I'm not sure if you guys saw it on my Facebook, but if you did, let me know. And she talked about her name and how when she was growing up, right, she hated her name, her traditional name, right? So she said she used to get bullied and all that. But fast forward to her, her name means something of like wealth and all that. But fast forward to now, she's an adult, she has her businesses and all that. I think she's making good money, right? She was like, now I appreciate my name, because it's like my name is it's really me. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm really in. I don't know how to word it, but
I think I remember when I read it, she said something about the reason why her dad chose that name was when she was born, or even before she was born, when mom was pregnant. They were like, her dad became very wealthy, and all that, right? Which is why he chose that name. So, but go ahead.
But yeah, which is why they chose that name and they gave it to her, right? So she said she never appreciated that name until she got older, and I'm pretty sure it's because maybe she lived overseas, away from her parents. Because I know Nigerian parents don't play; like, they will make sure you're proud of your name, right? But okay, so this lady made a comment on Tommy's post, first of all, a few days ago, where she said, doesn't he have a white man name? And I read the comment. I'm like, when I see her post, she's very intelligent. I wasn't expecting it. So I thought it was a joke. So I made a comment under her comment saying, you're joking, right? But I don't think I got a response. So when I posted that Nigerian stuff, she came back and she kind of made the same comment saying the reason why she will ask is because of blah, 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 and blah, right? And I said, that is still very disrespectful to the person who has their name. What's your problem?
Sorry.
I said, that is still very disrespectful to the person who has their name. You asking them if they have a white man name, right? Because at the end of the day, that's if you meet someone and they tell you, this is my name, right? Or this is my child's name. You asking, oh, what's the short version to the name? What is the white man's name that they have? What is, I don't know, what do they have another name that I can use that to call them, right? You okay?
Oh.
But I think it's very disrespectful. So so I said, I know, we all can learn, we all can do better in society, right? And she said, I never knew like asking someone for another name or another version of the name was disrespectful. I didn't even respond back because I'm like, the way things like this get me very heated, I don't want to respond and get into a fight on Facebook. I used to get into fights on Facebook. I'm not doing that no more. I'm not doing that no more. It's either I ignore you or I would just like unfriend you if you're really irritating me, right? So
Yeah, but hey, this is from Young Sierra Leonean. Very interesting talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Miss Sia, thank you for joining us. And let me go here. Abdul, thank you, fam. Thanks for joining us. I think I wanted to get to this question, though, right? This is actually a very great question. Do you feel like having two names, one English and one traditional name, like how do we feel about it, basically?
Okay, so
that's a great question.
It's a great question. So I'll use our first son as an example. He has an English name in the middle. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want people to default to that name. I want people to call him by his traditional name. But the reason why he has that name in the middle is because that is my dad's name, right? And I don't do the whole naming your kids after people thing, but African parents kind of guilt you.
Well, they didn't guilt you into it. To be honest with you, that's something that I think I did.
Yeah. Because I was like, no, I'm not doing it.
It was me because I'm like, hey, just
Tommy was like, let's just put it in the middle. It's fine. Yeah. They wanted the name to be the first name, but I said no. I want my child's first name to be a traditional name, not a white man's name, right?
But yeah, to answer that question though, when it comes to like having two names or whatsoever, the reason why with Mulima we decided not to have a middle name is because of that. I feel like when as he grows older, let me say maybe from middle school, elementary school, and all that, if he has a middle name, he's going to default to that middle name, right? So we purposely chose not to give a middle name that way. He doesn't default to that. We know, of course, as he's going from middle elementary school through high school, he might choose to say, call me this, right? But by the ending of the day, when it really comes to having one traditional name and one English name, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Personally, for me, I had hoped my mom named me a traditional name, and I have a way, but it's just the process is too much for me to go through of changing my name. But that's actually a great question. I think there's nothing wrong with it. It's just for us, I feel like when you give middle names that are not traditional names, you're basically telling the child when you grow up, then you can default to this English name because most kids are not going to end up appreciating their names until they're probably grown, they're adults. When you're going through that middle school, elementary school stages, you're not going to like readily embrace your name. So we try to take away that option of them just defaulting to the English name.
Yeah.
So hey fam, what's up, Mutawi family, guys? If you're watching, please check out their channel. They are also YouTubers. Then let me see.
Topic. People always make a big deal out of our names.
There we go. True that. That.
Unfortunately.
It's like saying your name isn't irrelevant enough to
be learned to spoken into existence. Like, how dare you? Exactly. Like, I really don't get it. I really don't understand it. And oh my goodness. Anyway, let's move on.
All right. Let me see. All right.
I love my traditional name, Borma. Did I say it right? Borma, right? Shabro. I think that's how you spell it. But I was never aware of it until I was older. Oh, wow. However, my Fashwa is a combination of my mom and dad, and I have grown used to it. That's nice.
I'm actually out here thinking Fashwa was your traditional name.
I thought that too because I've never heard that name before.
I thought it was your traditional name.
That's a good combination, actually.
Borma,
right? That's how you say it, right?
Borma.
I want to make sure I say it right. But
now that begs the question though, like why
yeah, I was gonna ask, why didn't you know about the name, or why didn't your parents tell you
tell
about
you
it?
about it? Yeah, that's actually something that I want to know, like how comes. But let me see another comment here. Not a fan of Arabic or Christian names or naming children after family members.
Yeah, not a
Person
fan at all.
Personally, for me, like I'll probably say this, right? I rather I go with Arabic names because they sound very exotic than naming my kids after family members. I think
Yeah.
when you start naming kids after family members, let me say for example, have we chosen to name Ibatimaz after Sia's dad? Then there's going to be that expectation that okay, now the next child have to be my dad's name,
Yeah.
right? And we don't want to set that template, man. Plus, I think it's very unique when kids have their own names, and in this case, names that actually have meaning behind those. Because imagine Mulima going for a date, or not even a date, you know, Mulima like chatting up with a girl, and the girl's like, "So what's your name?" And he's like, "My heart desire." That's just that's
Bruh.
smooth. It's like baby, you're my heart desire, and the lady's like, "What you mean?" Like, yeah, that's my name.
Oh my
That's just
gosh.
smooth, and it Batima too. So it's just very smooth. So by the ending of the day, Masa, I'm right there with you. Naming kids after parents, nah,
Yeah.
it's not
Click on the next comment. Share and give the beautiful
good.
video a thumbs up. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you. I'm up. Yep. That's the thing is, I think
Great name.
most of
Yeah.
us are already drawn to our tradition and cultures. Just we have some people who still think the traditional Sierra Leone names is just whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. I don't get that part.
What's the
Oh,
matter? Boima.
Boima.
Okay.
Boima was a chief name, by the way. Chief Boima. So just so you know. All right. So, all right, guys. Now let's go back here and let's continue topic. So, let me see. So, yeah, when it comes to like this whole traditional name stuff, it just doesn't make sense to me that Sierra Leoneans in general don't want to embrace it.
Yeah, and I can sit here and say and judge people from Sierra Leone who choose to give their kids white man's name, right? But I don't do that because it's not my place and it's none of my business, right? To me, as long as you're raising your child, they have good manners, you're raising them the way you're supposed to. They're gonna grow up and treat people the
The
right
right
way
way,
in
yeah.
society. Name your kids however you want to name them. But if I have someone over here talking about, oh, why did you name your child that? I can sit down and ask you the same thing. Like, why did you give your child a white man's name? Why? And the thing is also, why do we care about what the white man thinks?
And to
And
be
like
honest,
I
it's just
said,
not a white man's though,
and
right?
like I said, the white people that they keep using as an excuse, they don't care. They really don't. They love the names. They love the names. But even if they did not like or love the names, right? Why do our people sit down and decide to say, oh, the white man is not going to be able to pronounce it? Why do you care? Why do you care? And it stems, like I said, it stems back to them not able to pronounce it, so they use the white people as an excuse for their ignorance. And you don't have to. You really don't have to.
No, but the other stuff is though they tend to embrace other culture, right? This is where there's also issues. I've seen Sierra Leonean weddings where two Sierra Leoneans are getting married and they are wearing Nigeria whatsoever outfit.
Oh yeah.
The head tie, the whatsoever, or they are wearing. And if you're marrying someone that's from that background, that makes sense.
That makes sense, right?
Right? But if two Sierra Leoneans are getting married, I am sure if research is done, we do have traditional outfit that are just unique to Sierra Leone. But we don't see that anymore. And there are places still in in the world, even though there is civilization taking place, Ghana, Nigeria, Benin, all those places, when I was in Senegal, I was shocked. The women still wear their traditional dress, right? But for us, it's just, I feel like we're going at 500 miles per hour, but yet our country is still underdeveloped. Right. Like the name really should not be a big deal about, like, if you come across someone that has a traditional name, just the least you can do is, does it have a meaning?
It's kind of the same thing as when people will ask us, why do you speak Creole to them?
Don't get me started on that.
Like, I don't understand it. And like I said, it's coming from our people. What is the problem? I don't understand it. They always ask us, why are you speaking Creole to him? Why are you speaking Mende to him, right? And why is that such a problem? Why is that such a problem? Like, why should that even be a question that you want to ask? Someone said, what's the topic my favorites are talking about? Valentine, we're talking about, I'm not sure if you can see the title, but it's basically the social stigma that comes with giving your kids traditional name. But yeah, people always, they always want to say, why are you speaking Creole to the child? We are Sierra Leoneans, right? So to me, if we know how to speak Creole, I don't know how to speak Mende, but I speak Creole. We speak Creole to Ibatima in the house, and Tommy will talk Mende to him. So why should that even be a question that someone feels the need to ask? I will never understand it.
The stuff is also, it goes to show, I think when it comes to like traditional names and comment that we receive from people, I think it's the same reason why people make comments about like Sierra Leoneans in general. We tend to be very insensitive when it comes to one commenting on people's weight. Right?
Oh yeah.
I think it comes from that we're so insensitive to the fact that we tend not to realize that when it comes to names, especially traditional names, that's part of someone's identity, right? It's just like tribal marks. I've seen people from other parts of Africa that have tribal marks on their faces. They can't change that, right? But it goes back to what I was saying. This is the reason why when most of us come here, most Sierra Leoneans that have like that typical traditional name, we tend to phonetize it. Like, for example, if you go on Facebook, you'll see someone that went from fatty to fattish.
Right.
They went from this to this completely. And which I don't blame them. The reason being is, if your own people are making comments about your own traditional name, then you're not going to embrace that.
Yeah.
So.
And also, I mean, don't get me wrong. We're not saying that Nigerians and Ghanaians, like I said, the post that I posted, it was a Nigerian lady, right? And she had a problem, probably from school, right? Because I know Nigerian parents, they definitely do not play.
They
enforce your name. So when you end up going to school, you probably are going to have a little bit of issue. And I'm going to say this, the issue you're going to have is from African Americans, mostly from African Americans. I went to high school in this country, right? I know how things operate. I swear to God, you will meet a white person in school. They always mind their business, from my experience. But the African Americans, they always tend to have something to say about Africans, right?
Most African Americans,
from my experience, like I said, you get what I'm saying? So again, yes, you're going to have maybe a white person, one or two or something that might be ignorant, but I haven't experienced that yet. I've experienced it from our people. And like I said, our Black people in general, right? So
let me see. Let's go to the comment here. I need them to know where they're from, and I need my Creole to communicate out of the house when I don't want to be in spotlight. Exactly. Creole can be your little safe language.
Yeah.
You don't have to be speaking English all the time. And this, I've told you before, the area that I struggle with right now as a dad is I tend to talk more Creole than Mende to Ibatima. So I'm like, the moment I catch myself, I switch it up, because we really want our kids to embody their name.
Yeah.
Right. There is no reason why they should be named this traditional Mende name and they don't know much about the culture at all.
Yeah.
Right.
at least understand the language.
Exactly. And we're going to go above and beyond to definitely make sure that they understand the culture. It's not saying, oh, you guys are perfect. No, we're not perfect. We do speak English to the kids. But once we catch ourselves, we usually go back to the either Creole or in
But I
my
want to
case,
say
Mende.
no, don't make it so people can not feel a certain way. We actually speak less English to the kids.
No, we do. No, we do. I'm not saying we don't.
Okay,
We do
okay.
speak less English to the kids.
We speak more Creole.
Yeah.
We speak more Creole and Mende once in a while, but more is Creole.
Creole. Yeah.
You know?
Creole is what we speak more. So I get that. So let me see one more comment here. Okay. American kids from Sierra Leonean parents should talk their native language to the kids because they're fully Africans.
I agree.
I
agree.
And that's the issue that I've had with most young people in general. Like they all of the sudden, some people came here, let me say when they were 15, 20, and there's no reason for you to forget how to talk Creole.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not expecting you, like, even for me, right? The reason why I probably still know how to talk the Mende properly is because at least my mom is Mende. I have people around me that are Mende. So yeah, that definitely get my Mende going. Yeah. But you can't tell me that if you're from Sierra Leone, you don't, like, prior to you coming here, you did not know how to talk the Creole. Like, there's no reason for you to not know how to talk that Creole.
We're not even saying Mende Kono, your traditional because I'm language. Kono and I don't even know how to speak Kono. But Creole?
Yeah, Freetown Kono, that's fine.
Yeah.
But Creole is definitely something that you just can escape from. So yeah, Valentine, to your point, that's how I go. Like, there's no reason. I have my cousins, two of my cousins. They were both born here. They both know how to speak the Creole, the Mende. In fact, they can both type in Creole. Right? So if that is possible, I don't get why most parents, I think there's this notion that, oh, if you speak your language,
you're going to spoil their English.
You destroy their English. No, you're not going to. The Chinese people do it. I've seen Chinese kids, when usually they come to the store, they are the ones translating for their parents.
Yeah.
Their parents don't even know how to speak English. They are translating. And when they switch back to English, you will even never know that they know how to speak their traditional language.
When I was in high school in New York, right? I was in class with this Asian kid. Her English is very English. Okay? Let me just say that. When this girl she was on the phone one time with her mom. When this girl switched, I was looking at her the whole time in class. And then when she got off the phone, she said, "Sia, what's wrong?" I said, "You know how to speak your language?" I said, even her accent changed.
Yeah.
Okay. And when she switched it back to, man, it was amazing. Like, me seeing all these things, I think subconsciously it just made me realize that when I end up having kids, I'm not going to entertain that. And don't get me wrong, right? When I had Ibatima, even my cousins, I have my cousin who told me, oh, you're going to confuse the child by speaking Creole and by speaking English to them. And I said, right now, Ibatima, if I call him here to come speak to you guys, he'll speak English. Like, that's what he knows how to speak. But does he understand Creole? He does.
He does. Yeah.
He will say some words in Creole. Even Mende, he will say some words in Mende. So people sitting down and saying, you're going to confuse your child. If your child ends up growing up and they're confusing both languages, it has nothing to do with you guys speaking the language to the child. I think it's just maybe the way that's just how the child chooses to communicate.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because we do the same thing to Ibasima. I've seen people who did that with their kids, and their kids, they don't end up growing up and mixing languages together, right?
They are still successful. I think
yeah.
The problem that most Sierra Leoneans have is this notion that knowing how to speak English, quote unquote, I don't know, proper English, is what is going to make you successful. No, you can listen. I have co-workers who are from Hispanics background, right? Who, just because of they came from that Hispanic background, even though they were born here, automatically they were placed in ESL classes. automatically. Right, but that doesn't mean they are not successful today.
Yeah,
right. That's actually stories that they tell. So for us Sierra Leoneans, it's all about, no, I want you to be top tier. If you don't know how to speak English properly, you don't fail us.
Right.
That's the problem. So let me go to the comments here. Abdul said most people fail to realize that the name chosen might impact the child's life as they get older.
I can honestly say Ibatima is an Ibatima. I can honestly say that. It wouldn't make sense to someone, and I'm not saying, of course, like maybe giving your child an English name or whatever, right? But I'm saying my son, Ibatima, he is really a special and unique child. Like just the way he relates to people. I don't even like people like that. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm the mom who will take him to the park, and now I have to have a conversation with other moms because this boy wants to be Mr. Friendly, Mr. Nice Guy to every single person, right? So to me, his name and really embodies him.
His dad battered him.
So no, Ibatima, he's way worse than you.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He is way
All right,
worse
let's
than
go to another comment here. Valentine said, "Now false I boku with someone."
Because they don't have America. Yeah.
That's true though. That's really true. And Fashwa, let me see. It's just rubbish notion to give themselves as a reason. Right. This notion that if I speak my language, my Creole language to my kids, their English is gone. And I've actually, I think back when we were doing podcasting, someone told me that their mom actually used to spank them not to talk the Creole.
Oh wow.
Yes. And I'm like, wait, it's really that serious? It's crazy.
Wow.
All right, let's see. Fasha is here just dropping.
The language is about your culture and knowing where you're from. When you speak Creole, I don't expect my son to respond in Creole. I expect him to understand what I'm saying and respond back. Yeah. He like I always say, I'm not gonna sit here and say, especially when it comes to the language, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say Ibatima will speak Creole and Mende perfect. That's the goal. If it ends up happening, I will be proud of us as parents and of him, right? But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if he understands the language, that goes a long way. Just understanding. And he does understand Creole. Like when I speak Creole to him, he gets it. Yeah. You know, when we speak Creole to him, he understands what we're saying. You know, but even Mendy, he understands if Tommy says something to him, he understands what his daddy is saying. Yeah. So again, this, traditional name, the languages, just the ignorance that comes with you as an African, and it's coming from your people, it's very, very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. And I think we need to stop. So if you're someone and you're watching this video and you feel you think when someone tells you their name, you feel the need to say, do you have another name? Do you have a white man name? Do you have a shorter version of your name? Oh, I've had people who say, I'll call him I'll call him Iba. No. Oh, they'll call him Batima. No, that's not his name. His name is Ibatima. It's really that simple. Really that simple. And if you really want to learn, then you will learn. And, when I've met people with the traditional name, if I know I'm not going to see them again, for the meantime that we're together, I will make sure I get your name. Probably when I leave your site, I will probably forget how to say it, right? But if you're if you're around someone, a lot of the times, I still have people who call him Batima. And I'm like, you've known us since forever. You've known this boy since he was born, and you're still calling him something that's not his name, right?
I mean, the other thing also is spelling of the Mende traditional name can mean something else, right? Yeah. You taking the E
out of
it translates into something else. I've also realized people have started spelling Mulima's name with one I. We've posted this kid multiple times. It's double I. Like I'm not like it. The way you spell things in Mendy goes a very long way. That's just what I want people to know. Like, just be mindful of how you pronounce traditional names and also how you spell traditional names, because you come across someone that is, in my case, Ibatima, right? And people are like Bitima. Batima.
That's a whole different meaning.
That's a whole new different
That's
meaning.
not his name.
Right? That's a whole new different meaning. So just things to be mindful of.
And also, I think, maybe we're getting to the end of this live now, pretty much. But one thing I also want to mention before, we end up getting off of here is when someone corrects you, right? For example, like Tommy said, with Mulima now, if let's say you come on his under his picture and you spell his name Mulima instead of Muliima,
Yeah.
and we correct you and say, no, that's not how you spell it, this is how you spell it, why do some people want to feel offended? And sometimes they will even go to the point to say, I'm not the one who told you to give your child that name.
That's so disrespectful.
Excuse me?
And I'm going to that point where I'm going to start blocking
Excuse
people.
me.
I'm serious.
I always, because now for me, I don't really post on Facebook like that. Tommy, he will post more on Facebook, right? And sometimes some people will comment something under his post, and I look at the comment, and I'm like, are you serious?
I'm going to start blocking people.
Are you serious?
No.
So when someone corrects you, if you don't want to be corrected, then just keep off, right? But if you come and you spell a name wrong and you say a name wrong, I'm going to correct you.
Yeah. And to add to that also, when you come across some of the traditional name, whether it's an African name, whatever, I think it's disrespectful to them for you to say, do you have an English name or do you have another name? The appropriate thing to do is ask them to repeat their names again, or maybe go into like, what's the meaning behind your name? Because most traditional name, Arabic names and all that, have very good meanings behind them. Once you understand the meaning, probably that will help you with the pronunciation, instead of just dismissing like, oh, that name that you just told me is not important. That is basically saying I'm not important. Like, imagine you go on a date with someone, you tell them your traditional name, or when you guys were talking, they just dismiss that. Like, that would be a huge turn off.
Yeah.
Because name is part of your identity,
Yeah.
Right?
And also, there's nothing wrong with you forgetting.
No, it's
okay to forget how to say the name. But it's more respectful for you to come back and not default to calling the person maybe, oh, hey. And instead of, you can always ask, right? I don't see no reason why someone should feel offended with someone asking. For me, it's the ignorance, right? As long as you're not being ignorant. If you come to me 10 times and ask me, hey, I'm so sorry, I really forgot how to say your son's name. How do you say his name again? I will answer you. Anytime you come to me, I will tell you what his name is, right?
We've had people do that.
But but if you come to me and you're like, the name is so hard to pronounce, like, how do you say? Okay, now you've asked, but you also asked with ignorance. We don't need all that, right?
Yeah, and also don't ask people, do you have a white name? Don't do that.
Yeah.
That is just a wrong way to frame a question. Again, name is part of someone's identity. If they chose to give me Tommy, for example, my name might not have a meaning behind it, but I was named after my grandpa's elder brother, right? So of course the name has a meaning to my grandpa, my mom, and all that. It might not have a traditional meaning, but however, it has a meaning. So someone's name is not just going to be a name. If we don't have issue pronouncing all the other names, I think the least we can do is try to understand. But the thing that I'm coming to realize is, you meet most people, you hold them to a high standard, and those are the people who tend to default and let you down.
Yes. Like the example I gave, I was very surprised that it came from that person. Very surprised. Very, very surprised. But again, like Tommy said, the people that you hold to a high standard, the people that you think are very intelligent, can be the ones to be ignorant sometimes, right? And sometimes people just don't know better. They don't know what they're saying or doing is wrong, right? Yeah. Which is why I said, when someone corrects you, when someone tells you, hey, what you just said offended my feelings, it's simple. Just say sorry. Just say sorry, right? And try and learn. Or I said, if you're not willing to learn, then just keep it pushing. Really, just keep it pushing. Just mind your business, I guess. Yeah. But Abdul said, back in Africa, we got beat up for speaking our language in class. Yes, Abdul. Literally, I just said that this is the reason why I think our people struggle with this whole traditional name, traditional languages. You speaking English, you speaking the language to your child versus speaking English to the child. And I know we were colonized by the British, right? So maybe that's where the mindset stems from also. But I mean, come on, we have our languages. So if someone has a child, just because you live overseas doesn't mean if they decide to speak the language to their kids, that's a bad thing. We have people who know how to speak the language, traditional languages, and they decide not to speak it to their kids, right? They don't even care about the language, and that's them. I've seen people like that. I don't judge you, do you? You get what I'm saying? But when I choose to do me, and someone wants to say something, I can easily go and say, okay, but why are you naming your kids English names? Why are you speaking in just English to your child? Nothing wrong with speaking English to your child. It's amazing for them to know English. But if you know another language, why are you just speaking that language to them? Right? But it's none of my business, like I said.
And we might have said this already, but if you this for just pointers here, if you come across someone with a traditional name, be it in person, social media, whatsoever, try not to just brush it by. Ask that person to repeat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Repeat that name in your head over and over again, right? And find a way to spell it to where you remember. It might not be the accurate spelling, but at least the way that pronunciation came out. That's how you're going to remember to spell it,
Mm-hmm.
right? We might come across someone that doesn't know how to spell Sia, right?
Oh, yeah.
But they are going to spell it the way they remember how to spell it. That might not be the accurate way, but however, they will pronounce it the right way,
Mm-hmm.
right? So just little things to be mindful of. Don't dismiss someone's name.
Yeah, I've had people who spell my name CIA,
and that's how they remember it.
Like I said, just because I have a shorter version of a traditional name doesn't mean people don't mispronounce my name. I've had people who call me Saya. I'm like, how the hell? SIA, it's Sia. So it's not about, oh, you have a long name, your name is long, da 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 da. Like, no, let's stop doing that and just, like I said, learn how to respect people's name, respect what people choose to do. My child is not disrespecting anyone. The only comment I expect from people is, if you see my son being disrespectful, let me know. You get what I'm saying? Let me know. That's the comments I expect from people, not, oh my goodness, why did you choose to do this? Why did you choose to do that? Why are you speaking Creole to the child? You're going to confuse the child. Okay, well, that's not your child, right? So mind your business.
Yeah. But yeah,
so
let's learn to know that traditional names are part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, don't go around. And if you're somehow traditional name, I would say this: don't go around trying to minimize the meaning of your traditional name
to please people,
or you go from whatever your traditional name is to the quote unquote whitest name you can find, because that's what people are going to remember. I've seen people who are like, oh, my name is this, but call me this. No, what is your name?
We have a neighbor who moved in, next door, and the first time I met her, when I met, her and the kids, they're Ghanaians, right? So she told me her child's name. I'm not gonna say the child's name, obviously, but it's a nice Ghanaian name. It kind of actually rhymes with Ibatima, right? Very cute name. But she defaulted to say, oh, you can call her this. It was an English name. And I said, no, it's fine. I'll call her that name. You get what I'm saying? So you do have some Africans who end up defaulting to that. Like, they will show you their traditional name, but they will say, oh, just call me this, right? And not just Africans. Asians do it. I think Asians actually do it probably way more. Honestly, I've seen Asians who will be like, oh, my name is this. Call me David.
When I was in school.
Yeah, they do that a lot. So it's not just Africans who struggle with this, right? So again, it all stems to, like, people are very ignorant about their names, right? Because we all know Chinese names, extremely unique. You get what I'm saying? I've heard names where I'm like, wow, what does that mean, right? So again, just learn the names. Just try to, not be ignorant.
Yeah.
It goes a long way. So,
All right.
but anyway, we're gonna end this live now, guys. We're gonna end this live. Thank you guys for joining. If you are gonna rewatch the video, thank you for rewatching the video. I'm gonna
Yes,
put this boy
guys.
down.
So if you're watching this from Facebook, please check out our Instagram, the Tarawallie family. We're also on YouTube, the Tarawallie family. Make so everyone here, Fashwa, Abdul, Valentine, everyone who
Thank
joined
you.
us, Masa, Sia, Nyale, Fatmata, and
Come.
Amnata, everyone that have joined us today. Thank you for joining us. We really do
Come and say
appreciate the
hi.
love and support. You want to say hi to the guys?
Say hi, people.
Hi, people.
What's your name?
Ipatima.
Nah.
Your name is Ibatima?
That's right.
You don't know the meaning yet, right? What's the meaning?
Special, unique.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. But yeah, thanks for joining us and thanks for watching. I hope this was fun and entertaining. And next time probably we'll try to bring someone on. That way we can make it more.
We're going to for now, for the next month, I think we're going to come live every week on Sunday.
Yeah.
So join us, subscribe to our YouTube and all that, and check out our videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before we hop off, though, Valentine said the Asians that don't of what? The Asians that don't of them villages they make. Oh. Thanks. Yeah, this was
Thank you so much for
good.
joining,
Thank
Daphne.
you guys. All right. Bye guys. Love you guys.